It's still a fluid situation, and we are still investigating.
This is my observation. I have been following the trail of events, and as a public analyst and of public interest, the very far there have been several allegations against Dr. Ngozi Orabueze fighting the men on ground. And eventually, I've been looking for an opportunity to validate the positions or discredit these allegations by certain personalities of interest. It eventually, of course, dawned on me now with this very position expressed by Dr. Ngozi Orabueze, more concerned or alleging, as she rightly said, I will leave you with the video to watch, that an investigation is still on, and you are making a hasty conclusion that Igwe Butuzo and Uwam was responsible for the killings of the third person, possibly under her control. The people who decided to align with her and eventually to pitch their tent against the men on ground or the Biafran Liberation Force being controlled by the Biafran Republic government in exile. Igwe Butuzo have expressed, Gentle have expressed, Uwam have expressed their allegiance that they are working for those who employ them. They are fighting for the freedom under the edges of Biafra Republic government in exile and not under Ngozi Orabueze. Sadly, Ngozi Orabueze has been forcing herself on these people. They don't recognize USB. USB is a fallout of Ngozi's own camp. He decided to break away. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is known as the Biafran Republic government in exile prime minister. That is what he made the public to know, that the Biafrans elected him as the prime minister of the Biafran Republic government in exile. Of course, with the synergy with the de facto government in Holland. So how will Ngozi Orabueze continue to force herself on the people who have rejected her? And the very reasons of rejection was that, according to Holy Ghost, before he eventually disappeared or went out of the space, public space, he said that when all these things were bringing up, that Butuzo told Ngozi Orabueze, you can take care of all the administrative health events, running of the day-to-day administrative engagement and the rest of it, but leave that aspect of command, leave that aspect of military, because you are a novice. You don't know how it goes. It is one of the main strong base or strong foundation in this liberation phase or struggle for the restoration and recognition, not just redeclaration, but recognition and reconsolidation of the sovereign state of Biafra. This is before the public domain, and you can make references to those events. Now, Ngozi Orabueze, in defiance to the suggestions, which is done in the interest, because you don't know how the operations of the men on ground or the defense force is being run. After all, during the meeting, you have never been involved in the meeting with the men on ground, even while Prime Minister Simon Ekpa was there. Yes, Holy Ghost said it, that there have never been a time you were allowed to attend the secret meeting or the usual meeting with the men on ground or the defense force, that there have never been a time Simon Ekpa invited or allowed Ngozi Orabueze to be part of that discussion. Now, if Simon Ekpa has trusted Ngozi Orabueze to that point, nothing would have stopped her as the chief of staff to be part of that meeting. For Simon Ekpa to have taken her away from the secret or from the process of engagement with the men on ground, that implies that Simon Ekpa will not trust her to that extent, has no such confidence reposed in Ngozi Orabueze. If actually Simon Ekpa understood that Ngozi Orabueze could not betray the cause or the confidence reposed on her because he was skeptic about her personality or whatever he personally may have observed about Ngozi Orabueze. Otherwise, Holy Ghost said it. From the Holy Ghost, the one AAK Holy Ghost only in the social media, he said, just for public interest and for just refreshing of our brain, for those who have watched, he said that Simon Ekpa has not involved Ngozi Orabueze in the cabinet meeting that borders on defense. And this was the suggestion of Butuzo. You have not been part of this meeting. You don't know where it started and you don't know where it is ended. So it's a very classical meeting or secret that must be kept secret. So don't tamper with the defense system. That was just the offense of Butuzo. And eventually, Ngozi Orabueze started calling and this media propaganda, calling him names that is sabotaging the cause. He's no longer, he has been bought over, blah, 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 and the rest of them. She insisted to know how all these things are going. She wanted to know, of course, certain classical details that should be privy to certain personalities who are directly involved in the engagement and interaction. Of course, they mentioned the likes of Success, they mentioned Simon Ekpa and Success, and Simon Ekpa, Success, and eventually, who else? Okay, Kerry, the Minister of Finance. These are the only people that are engaging with the men on ground. Success, Simon Ekpa, and Oge Kerry, which means Oge Kerry was more trusted by Simon Ekpa than Ngozi Orabueze, the most closest person who understands certain secrets embedded in the Biafran Republic government defense is Success Ogenkere and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, of course, Simon Ekpa with Butuzo and other generals. Do you understand this truth? But this truth has been covered up, sabotaged, played down, and the rest of them. Whipping of sentiment and the rest. If Ngozi Orabueze is a trusted right-hand person to Simon Ekpa, she would have taken her to the main inner chamber. You know, if you are not afraid of a friend, and you know that this person is a close ally, there's nothing that can stop you from taking the person into your inner chamber. But if it's somebody that you don't trust, a mere casual friend, you see, you keep him at arm level. Yes, you can allow the person at the reception, at the general reception room, and the rest of them. But if it's somebody who knows you, na batawa nime, you know, na no me, I'm na yicha, I'm na sa, na batawa nime. The person can freely walk, can know certain secret about you. So for Ogenkere, Success, and Simon Ekpa to be the only people engaged, and the defense minister and the men on ground and the rest of them, it is an indication that Ngozi Orabueze was not trusted by Simon Ekpa. Now, how could you get somebody you never trust? He said he was appointed by who? You see, the Biafran Republic government in their side, as far as the public is concerned, and what is before the public domain as public interest is, and that of the Biafrans is what is currently in charge of the liberation struggle. As Scott Biafra is still in the process of liberation struggle recognition and diplomatic engagement and the rest of it, never a government. Because you say that it's a government, what does government entails? Government has responsibilities and obligations to her citizens. Now, you are now fighting Butuzo directly. It is very clear to me now. That's why I have not, of course, discussed or dabbled into such issues. But from this position and statement Ngozi has made, she was not concerned about the report of the Amnesty International. She was not concerned about the indictment, the revelation of Amnesty International over what is happening in the East. She was not concerned about the invention recently in Amako here, the Fulanese militias invaded Amakohe axis, leaving some persons dead. Even vigilantes were attacked. Ngozi Orabueze was not concerned about the invasions of the communities, the raping of our women and the rest of them. Her major concern is fighting Igwe Butuzo and the men on ground. Building, of course, she have claimed she has her own men on ground. She has her own men. These are people she has recruited or been able to lure to pull out from the main structure and entice them with monetary inducement or whatever be the case. I am not privy to know. I'm not concerned about that. But eventually was convinced to be part of her own men on ground. What was her mission and objective? To fight the men on the ground. The men people on the ground who said, you don't know, you are a novice to this. There's a way they operate. You are not aware. You have not been integrated into that meeting. You know, just like Nigeria have the NEC, National Executive Council, not everybody is involved. There are more secrets that have been discussed. And when it involves the chief of staff and other security meetings or details, there are people that are not allowed to discuss certain issues because of certain, to keep certain secrets. In that high level profile meetings, Ngozi Orabueze has not been there, even as the chief of staff. Which means chief of staff is just a mere secretary, organizing secretary, who runs the affairs, who ensures if there is a meeting, if there is any appointment the prime minister have, he will be able to get across the prime minister, make sure that the table is set, the meeting is ready, of course, to take off and the rest of it. But such details, secret details, she is not involved. This was the beginning of the war declared against Igwe Butuzo. And some persons are not aware. I've taken time to study and, of course, coming with this inference and analysis, trying to, of course, link the dots, to connect the dots. So very much clear. Now you begin to ask, if you're a government, aren't you perturbed or disturbed by the level of subjugations and abuses? These are Amnesty International reporting all these things. You've not called the governors in question. You say you have 40 state governors. 40 state governors controlling the resources of the Biafra, or doing what? Or hiding themselves under one shed, under one tree. You have 40 state governors, and what are their missions? What are their operations? They are not in control of the resources local to them. They don't control the military, the police. The welfare of the citizens aren't prioritized. So how long do we continue to deceive the gullible ones for those who care to be deceived? It is quite unfortunate and disturbing development, honestly. Now, Biafrans should begin to ask questions. Why is Ngozi Orabueze not interested in the escalations that is going on? There have been several revelations of invasions alleging that the Nigerian military or security operatives, blah, 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 Kigwe and the counterforce. And of course, Asari Dokubo has come out to make it very clear that he is involved. He has a private military outfit being contracted to do whatever job they are asked to do. There's one other of Igbo extraction who made revelations on findings over what is going on or what transpired in around this. After this video, I will be making a video. You try to watch the next episode. Let me leave you with this for you to make your informed judgments. Ever throughout this video, Ngozi Orabueze never mentioned the assault, the atrocities of the Fulani invaders, of the criminals ravaging and the rest. Her only concern is Igwe Butuzo, Uwam, And in as much as I don't support the killing of anybody, nobody has the right to kill anyone. We all have equal rights to life. But she was very emphatic. You can see the burden, we call it the hate expressed. Igwe Butuzo, Uwam. Is that what the people want to hear? And you also hooked yourself in because you said you are still on with the investigation, which means you are not really sure. You have not concluded in the investigation. Who is aware that she was killed and dumped there? How do you get your reports? Could it be that possibly there could have been an altercation between other security forces who is not from the camp of Igwe Butuzo and the rest of them? So you said the investigation is still on to ascertain the veracity of your assertion, but you have already taken a stand in that particular issue because you have a sentiment, you are weeping a sentiment, you have a grudge, which you are looking for opportunity to express. Let me leave you with this, and of course, don't forget to react to this video and make your comment as we deliberate more. Just listen to this video.
And it's going to be straight to the point. And that point relates to the generals we have in the United States of Biafra, whom has participated in the struggle under the liberation phase of this, those whom Biafran people have supported in the past to get our freedom, to participate in our freedom, following the due process established by our Onyendu Nnamdi Kanu and our Prime Minister Simon Ekpa. I got so many reports every day. But under the United States of Biafra government, like I clearly stated yesterday, we are not going to support anyone using the name of Biafra freedom or fighting for freedom to commit crimes in Biafra land, to kill fellow Biafrans. We are not going to allow Biafrans to kill other Biafrans in the name of freedom fighting. We're establishing a nation and we need due process and protocol for everything we do, even in our military. So I want to use this opportunity to bring to the notice of Biafrans of another Biafran that has been killed by Butuzo and General Uwam. We have a soldier called Akapiara. Akapiara is from Awo in Oshu, the same community with Commander Uwam, General Uwam. This guy was beaten, mutilated, and dumped inside a pit where he died under General Butuzo and General Uwam. This guy was a Biafran soldier that served meticulously under our Prime Minister Simon Ekpa. It's still a fluid situation, and we are still investigating. That what General Butuzo, Commander Uwam or General Uwam, what they are doing is not acceptable to the United States of Biafra government. They have no right to be taking the lives of other Biafran soldiers that are fighting daily, that have fought daily to bring us to this liberation where we are. They have no right to do that. I've gotten other complaints, but this one is the one that I need to let them know. They cannot continue to waste the lives of Biafran soldiers that were assembled by our Prime Minister Simon Ekpa and Nnamdi Kanu. And now, because they want to do their own thing, which only them know whom they are loyal to, whom they are working with, and of whom soldier that General Butuzo and Uwam has killed, by throwing him inside a pit, is not acceptable under the United States of Biafra government. They will account for this. When we said we need a military in the United States of Biafra government that follows all the international and local laws to ensure we have the best military in Africa, there is a reason for that. There is a reason for that. It doesn't mean that people have not done things in the past or played good roles in the past. But since these individuals have deviated, want to do their own thing, throwing the Nigerian part, they must stop killing Biafran soldiers. A prime minister created the 40 states of Biafra. Every Biafran soldier, whether you've been there for the past 20 years, 10 years, or one day, you have to go to your state to defend your state from the reintegrated terrorists brought into your state by the Nigerian government. That is where we are right now. And that is the way it must be.